All right, welcome inside Port City Body Shop, everybody. Jacob Toby alongside former OSU safety Deion Imade. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, man. It's that time of year where playoff time is hitting in high school football. The college season is starting to ramp up a little bit. And you know how NFL's hanging on. My Cowboys doing strong.
And you know what? I was almost going to wear a Patriots tie that I had this week.
I'm surprised we made it this far without you bringing it up.
I almost did that, but yeah, we do have Cowboys at Patriots this Sunday, so I'm pumped about that.
Yeah,
are you feeling good or what?
I mean, I'm feeling very confident. Did you see the performance they put against Detroit? You see Dak, leading passer in the NFL? Hey, man. And I see Tom Brady. He's looking a little shaky.
That's true, but the defense, though, pretty good.
Yeah, they're
best in the league.
Pretty
so
strong.
We can talk about that at the end. The college football playoff rankings just came out 20 minutes ago. OU moves up one spot to number 9 after their 34-31 win versus Baylor. Baylor moves back one spot. Just your overall thoughts on where you think the committee was in terms of placing Oklahoma at the 9 spot.
Well, I mean, first and foremost, Oklahoma did a good job of coming back and getting a victory, an entertaining victory, but probably something that doesn't help their case for being one of the top 4 teams in the country so that they can get that spot into the playoffs. If they would have gone to Baylor, handled their business, and, beat them with a convincing win, I think they would have probably been in that number 6 spot ahead. Number 7. I think they'd be in that number 7 spot, right behind Oregon, ready to make a move in case something does happen in the Pac-12.
Yeah, I just think it really would have been different if the Sooners came out guns blazing and went up 25-0, went up 30-0 or 30-10, and then you sort of saw a blowout. I think that would have helped them more, and they would have moved up to number 7, like you said.
Because if we're looking at it and we're being serious, it was kind of a lose-lose situation for the Big 12 as a whole. Because at a situation that we are looking at, either Baylor wins that game versus OU and they hop up and they become the favorite for the Big 12 to represent the Big 12 in the playoffs, or OU wins and they come the favorite to represent the Big 12 in the playoffs. But with the way that OU won and the lack of performance that this Baylor team had in the second half, it wasn't a very good, representation of what's to come, and it didn't give OU a lot of wiggle room so they could make their way up to the top.
The top 5 staying the same: LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, Alabama. Quickly, do you think Alabama will stay out of the playoff now with Tua Tagovailoa done for the season?
For sure. Because, the playoff committee has already stated in last year's, kind of run of things that they would look at injuries, and they want the best 4 teams. An injury comes into play. If you're one of your star players, one of your best players is hurt, then you're not the best looking team in the country. And because of that, with Tua out, there's no way you can put Alabama in there as one of the top 4 teams in the country. They were already shaking to begin with, and now with Tua out, it's a guarantee that they're not going to be in there.
For sure. Quickly, Oklahoma State jumps up from 23 to 21 after a pretty good win against Kansas.
Yeah, and with all that being said, it's not likely that OSU is going to get a chance to be one of the top 4 teams and help the Big 12 be a representative in that Final Four. But I think what it's doing is the more OSU is climbing up into one of those top spots, it helps the resume of the rest of the Big 12. And that's what you kind of need right now. That's what all these conferences are looking at. You want your teams that are in the middle of the road to climb up in those polls, so therefore you can have a better resume for your top teams to make it into the playoffs.
When we were driving up here, we were listening to the playoff rankings released.
Yeah.
And you had said that, you're a Cowboys guy, you're an Oklahoma State guy. So you want Oklahoma State, you want OU the highest it could possibly be for that Bedlam game.
Yeah, first of all, it makes it a very compelling game.
Oh, it does, because it's a higher seeding. But you want to see a big upset there in Stillwater, November 30th. Primetime 7 p.m.
Well, let's be honest. There's no secret that I'm going to be rooting for the Cowboys no matter whatever the OU's record is or what their chances are to make it into the playoffs. So, why not let them be higher up there and then cheer for orange and black on that day? And if they tumble and, don't make the playoffs because of the Cowboys, I don't think it would be the worst thing for Pokes fans across the nation.
It'd be a good game for sure.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, it's going to be
a primetime game.
It's going to be a primetime game under the lights. Stillwater will be packed. So can't wait to see that. We can talk about that in the coming weeks, as that's 2 weeks away now. Let's talk about that win for OU against Baylor. I'm watching this game, right? And first half, it's 28-3. And I'm just sitting there like, OU's defense is just shot. It's shot. There's no way they can get back to what they were the first 7 games. They were playing crappy opponents. They looked decent against crappy opponents. There's no way they can get back to that. Was their ceiling. Like, Alex Grinch did as much as he possibly could to help this defense grow from what the train wreck was last year. And then in the second half, it just completely changed. 3 turnovers, a game-winning or game-saving interception by Nick Benito, a strip sack recovered by Pat Fields. Like, it was a totally different half in that second half. They shut out Baylor. And in a first half where Charlie Brewer was playing like a freaking Heisman candidate, like, it was a totally different ball game in the second half. And you have to give credit to that defense.
Well, do you have to give credit to that defense? I mean, look at it. They played 16 plays all of the second half.
And they made them, though. They made the 16.
Not 16 drives, 16 plays
and they
in
made
the second half. You got to commend that offense. That's what you need to do. Commend that offense and tell them, good job for creating an opportunity where you have 24 first downs in the second half. That's driving the length of the field twice and then also 4 more first downs. Before the fact of that, it was very impressive for Jalen Hurts and that offense to continue to get first downs and keep that defense on the bench and keep them rested. Because of that, that's what allowed them to win that game.
But what I'm saying is I expect the offense to wake up. I didn't expect the defense to take the turn that it did, right? I expect Jalen Hurts to sort of come back from what he did in the first half. He had 305 of his 411 total yards in the second half. And, he's a Heisman guy. He's in that conversation. So I expect him to sort of play up to that standard. But I really didn't expect the defense to come around like they did. And it just, to me, it was that much more impressive because of how they were playing in the first half, how they've played the last 3 games, the stretch that they've had, which has been just awful ball. They let up big plays. The middle of the field is so wide open, or at least it was in the first half. And I get that they didn't play that many snaps. I understand that. But they made the plays when they counted most, and they, you could say, made the most important ones with the strip sack and the interception, because those were momentum-changing, especially the strip sack. That was a momentum-changing play. And then Benito misses the interception on the first pass of that drive. He gets it in the second pass. So I just think that they bounce back beautifully.
I mean, you always expect your defense to play well when they're fresh. And I think that's what you kind of saw in the second half from this defense. You saw a defense, a Baylor
There's
defense.
A strip sack.
Yeah, you saw a Baylor defense go on the field when they were tired, and you saw an OU defense on the field when they were fresh and rested in the second half because of those first downs, because of only 16 plays. I mean, yes, they did create some 3-and-outs. They did create some turnovers. But again, I'm saying this, you expect that to happen.
But do you, though?
You do expect that to happen. You expect the defense to play well and be able to fly around to the football, create turnovers when they have their legs underneath them and when they're rested. 16 plays in the second half, that doesn't make you a good defense. That doesn't make you having a dominant performance in the second half. 16 plays, it's not enough sample size for you to state that.
But with this defense, would you have been surprised if during those 16 plays, Baylor scored 2 touchdowns because the cornerbacks were playing awful? I think the assumption was that they would just continue to play that way because that's the trend. The trend of where they're going is sort of down before that second half, and now it's sort of level again.
I just think that the storyline from this game shouldn't be that the defense bounced back in the second half. That's not the case. They played a limited amount of snaps. I think it's the offense and them being able to control the tempo of the game, and young guys with the absence of CeeDee Lamb being able to take advantage of their opportunities. Okay, first of all, who knew that OU had the tight ends that they had with the starting guy Calcaterra, if I'm saying that correct, going out out. We didn't know what was coming up from that team, but they had freshmen like number 18, Austin Stogner. He steps up and makes 2 big catches in the end zone. Number 84, Lee Morris. He had a very big game, lead the team with receptions with 7 targets and 7 catches. Then some young guys. I mean, who was this number 10, Theo?
Theo Weiss, man. You don't know who Theo Weiss is?
He comes out of nowhere and has all the shakes and all the jukes. And those type of players, I mean, even A.D. Miller, he had a good night of receiving the football. Those players and Jalen Hurts in the second half was what the difference in this game, not the defense.
I think Sooner fans have been dying to see the wide receiver talent. These guys are 5-star recruits. All of the guys you just mentioned, 5 stars. Jaden Hazelwood, another 5-star wide receiver.
He had 1 reception. That was a big reception.
For sure. He will be a CeeDee Lamb type receiver in the next couple of years when he gets more reps. And Sooner fans want to see these guys get reps because they're 5-star guys. They know they're that talented. So when CeeDee does go out, which was a big blow, right? Big blow to start the game because he's warming up on the field.
Yes.
There was a report out there by OUDaily.com that he was questionable, right? But then he goes onto the field, he's warming up. He even said to one of the camera guys, he said, "I'm good to go," or whatever. And then, that was a paraphrase, but he basically said that. And then the radio broadcast, the OU Sooner radio broadcast breaks it that he's not playing. Now they're saying that he might be in concussion protocol. Like, to not have your best player, that CeeDee Lamb arguably would have been the best player on the field that night, regardless of what team.
And I very much believe that would have been the case. But he knew he wasn't playing. That was a lot. That was some world class acting and directing by Lincoln Riley. I mean, being a player, and I can speak to this. When you have your Letterman jacket on the sideline on a road game, you came off that bus knowing you weren't playing in that game.
For sure. And so maybe OU had a day or two to plan for that, and they put these guys in situations. And you have to shout out, like you mentioned, Lee Morris. This is a guy who has not gotten a lot of snaps as he did in previous years. This is a guy that comes in as a walk-on. He got a scholarship last season. He's in his senior season. He had 8 touchdowns last season. And now he only has 1. And so he's taken a step back, but he's a team guy, and Lincoln Riley really respects that and wants to give him chances when there are opportunities to. And he led the team in receptions, receiving yards rather. And there are a bevy of options for Oklahoma if you don't have CeeDee Lamb. But obviously they would love to have CeeDee Lamb back as soon as possible. Lincoln Riley saying in his press conference yesterday that he's questionable coming up versus TCU, so we'll see how that goes. Did anything else stand out to you? Let me say this about Jalen Hurts. In the first half, it felt, to me at least, that he was trying to make every single play, Matt. Every single play. Trying to run the ball. He was getting smacked all over the place. He's making throws. He's stripped of a couple balls. He loses them. You know, the ball security was not there. It just felt like to me he was forcing it a little bit. Did you feel that at all?
Honestly, I mean, just because of how he operates and how cool and calm he is throughout the process of the game, I didn't see that. I did think there were some, moments where it was just unusual. I mean, just the turnovers. I mean, 3 fumbles. He only lost 2. But you could see those were plays that were just kind of weird and awkward. The one on the ground where it just comes out of his hand, that was a weird one. Mm-hmm. The one where he takes a hard hit, I mean, the hit was so hard his visor broke and came off. But he still was able to come back and get that ball and retain possession of it. But those kind of turnovers, they were just unusual things that happened. I don't think he was forcing the game. I think he didn't have his best target. And because of that, he was, a little unsure where to go with the football, and they didn't have, some of the plays that they were used to rely on. But I think it was just a very well played first half from this Baylor team.
And if you don't have your number 1 weapon, and you're already not the greatest passer in the world, and you can run really well, I think that's kind of the mindset, right?
Yeah, some indecisiveness in the pocket.
Exactly.
Because of it.
Exactly. Ask our guys back there to roll the video of the celebration, because you see when this team gets the interception – and they know they won the game at that point. There's a nice play by Benito right here. You're going to see Jalen Hurts just filled with joy with Lincoln Riley. I mean, that's a great shot.
First one of the season. That's the first time we've seen him
for sure
overjoyed throughout the season.
For sure. And this is a guy that says he just wants to go 1-0 every week. He's been robotic at best in terms of character. And this is really the first time where we see him embrace the fans and get into it with Kenneth Murray down there and some of the other guys. It was a great moment. I think Sooner fans were really happy to see that, for sure.
I mean, you got to be happy. And in a moment like that, when you've accomplished something like that, you kind of can let loose a little bit. But he did say, one-day rule, 24-hour rule. He's back on to the next week. He celebrated that. You saw the celebration. I think we got the same Jalen Hurts on our hand. One thing I did want to mention, though, before we get out of here into the break, OU still has a problem defensively with running quarterbacks. Okay? These last couple of weeks when they've, had some problems, it was Kansas State with Skylar Thompson, running quarterback. You saw Brock Purdy do some things over there for Iowa State. That's also a dual threat guy. This week, Brewer took him down with that quarterback power. Running quarterbacks between the tackles has given this team some issues. They need to figure out how to fix that if they want to continue with some success throughout the season.
And when you mention the running quarterbacks, 2 weeks from now, Spencer Sanders can run the ball a bit.
You don't say. You don't say.
Let me blow your mind real quick on a stat. Last 15 years, opponents on the road versus top 25 teams that are 9-0. Going into that game, they were 0-902, and Oklahoma wins. Isn't that stat blows my mind?
Hey man, it was a nice comeback and a nice way to take down that stat.
And they came back from 28-3. You know who else came back down from 28-3?
Who?
The Patriots.
Why would you end the segment like that?
Just had to do it. Just had to do it. And if you saw on
the
Twitter,
Atlanta Falcons fans have been through enough.
And did you see the Atlanta Falcons Twitter? They just put the emoji of them, covering their face because they knew they did the same thing. So
whatever, man.
It's okay. When we come back, we'll talk about OSU and their win versus Kansas. We'll also get into some TU football as well and some high school football coming up next right here after the break.
There is truly no place like home. Right here in Eastern Oklahoma, Bravado Wireless provides the best unlimited talk, text, and data for only $40 a month. We believe in strong, connected communities. That's why we live stream community events like local football games. You may not know us by name, but we'll be at the same festivals and cheering for our kids on the same sidelines. Because we live where you live. Visit bravadowireless.com or visit one of our stores, where we make it easy to join our family. Bravado Wireless. We believe in the power of connection.
All right, welcome back inside Port City Body Shop. Les Miles comes back to Stillwater for the first time since he was head coach from 2001 to 2004. And Kansas has played some decent ball this year, better than people expected.
Yeah.
Well, OSU says, not today.
Not today.
Not today. Really good win for them. What impressed you more? The running from Chuba Hubbard, again, 122 yards, 8th straight game of doing so, over 100-plus yards, or that defense? 3 interceptions for the 3rd straight week. And again, another defensive player of the week for Colby Harvell-Peel, his 3rd of the season.
I mean, let's be honest. Because of the fact that with OSU, you don't expect great defensive play, and with the fact that based on what Chuba has been doing this season, running for $150 a game isn't, out of the realm of possibility. It's something that we've come to expect throughout the season. I would say this defense performance is the shocker and the thing that you're more impressed by. I mean, just the last 3 games since, the defensive line has come together, since, some of their injuries have been less than far between, and they've been getting better throughout that process. This team has gone on a tear. I mean, interceptions, turnovers, fumbles, getting back to the quarterback, blitzing. I mean, Jim Knowles has done a great job of creating some interesting blitzes and creating pressure with 7, 6. I mean, look at these stats. On the season, they have 12 interceptions, 7 fumbles, and 21 sacks. This is a defense that on week in and week out, they give their team the possibility to win. With a young freshman quarterback, it's very important to have one of those behind you. So you like, something happens, you don't have to force anything, just, put our defense in great field position and allow them to play. And that's exactly what this team has done.
Yeah, they are feeding off the energy they get from these turnovers, right? And I mentioned Harvell Peel, his second straight game with 2 interceptions. Mm-hmm. He leads the Big 12 in passes defended, 3rd overall in the FBS. That's really good. Did you see him taking on this role at the beginning of the year? You follow the team a lot closer than I do, and you know the roster a lot closer than I do. Did you see that coming?
Very much so. I mean, if you saw the way he played last year, towards the end of last year, as a freshman, you knew that he was going to be destined for great things. Now, he had a slow start to the season, and because of that, it was a little, didn't know if that was going to happen or not. But he is caught on and has been hot late. And he's one of those players, Coach Gundy even stated it, that he's a guy that's just always around the football. And when you're always around the football defensively, then good things will happen. And good things have happened for him.
For sure. And when you take a look at Chuba Hubbard's game, like I said, 8th straight game of 100-plus yards, but his longest run was only 18 yards.
Exactly.
And he didn't see him rip off a 50 or 60 this game.
And because of that, some people were, kind of concerned about the offensive line's performance. I watched the offensive line. They did a great job in this game, great job on both sides in the trenches. I don't think it was because you didn't see that big explosive run from Chuba, some people were skeptical of it, but it was a good hard fought victory in the trenches. The offensive line did good. Chuba, you can see the yard average. He had a good day.
For sure. And Chuba Hubbard leads the nation in yards and runs of 20 yards or more, 30 yards or more, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. He literally leads the country in all those categories of runs of 20-plus and then go all the way to 90.
And with numbers like that, you would think that would be a guy that should be looking at, taking a trip to New York.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next, sir. Right now, should he be there?
Of course. I mean,
but will he?
Here's the thing. He should be there. And Coach Gundy stated this after the game on the radio.
He was making his case.
If Chuba's not in New York, then they should just call this a quarterback award and hand the award to the best quarterback in the nation. But that's not the case. We already have an award for that. That's not the best quarterback award. It's for the best player in the nation. First of all, Chase Young for Ohio State, although he's been suspended, he should be in New York. He's probably the best player in college football, next to Chuba Hubbard, who should also be there. Joe Burrow's having a dominant year. I mean, Justin Fields is doing some great things at Ohio State, but Chuba should be there without a doubt.
I agree. He should be there.
The numbers prove it.
The numbers prove it, especially if he goes over 2,000. And it's going to be hard, I think. I mean, Oklahoma State, with them being ranked, I think that really helps them. It helps their case. If they weren't ranked, it would make them suffer a bit. But when you look at Chase Young, you look at some of the other quarterbacks, it just might be tough to get in there. They love their quarterbacks. So it's tough to choose.
That's true. But, and this is still a concern because our guy, Spencer Sanders, did go down last week versus Kansas. So hopefully he's good. But if he's not, then they're going to rely on Chuba a lot more.
For sure. Let's go over to the Tulsa Golden Hurricane coming off a bye week. Mm-hmm. They're hosting Houston this week, and then they're at East Carolina for the season finale. How important do you think these last two games are for the Hurricane?
Very important. I mean, right now you're playing for pride. I mean, it might not mean a lot to everybody, but you're playing for your seniors, you're playing for your school, and you never know in this game when it's your last opportunity to step on the field in between those white lines. So you have to take advantage of every opportunity. They have to do that this Saturday.
For sure. Houston and TU have the same records.
Right.
3-7, 1-5 in conference play. It'd be great to see TU put 2 wins together. They haven't done that since 2016, and that was a 3-game win streak. Of course, the last time they made it to a bowl game was 2016. So that's been ailing them a lot, is they just haven't had momentum. They win one, then they lose 2. They win the next one, then they, again, lose another one. So putting together a nice little stretch here of either 2 wins or 3 wins to close out the season would be the best case scenario for head coach Philip Montgomery. ECU is not going to be easy next week. They're playing UConn. I say they win that game. They put up 51 on SMU 2 weeks ago. That'll be tough, and it's an away game. This team has had trouble on the road. So, yeah, I mean, it's really important to finish these last 2 games strong.
And it's senior night, okay?
Yeah.
Like, for real. If you can't...
For real.
If you don't have pride in what you're doing, at least, look at the guys next to you. It's their last opportunity to play at their school. The last time their family members and their friends get to see them come play. Maybe the last couple of times these guys get to put on a uniform, play for those guys.
For sure. Oh, we got high school football talk coming up next. You ready for that?
It's
playoff
ready.
time.
I'm always ready.
We'll be back after this.
We were there when your grandparents made their first telephone call. We were there when your parents were able to choose what to watch on cable. And now, we're here for you, providing high-speed internet service to your family. There is one thing we know for sure. No matter what happens next, Cross is here to keep you connected. Cross, serving families like yours, today and tomorrow.
We'll talk high school football in a moment.
Okay.
But we had to start with the big boys. The big boys.
Yeah.
The NFL. Who'd you see that impressed you this week?
Well, he's not a big boy, but he had some big-time performance this year, and he had another good game this week. I chose my man Kyler Murray, okay?
Is he really your guy?
Well, I mean, we're both from Dallas. He's went to Allen. I'm from Rowlett. I mean, it's kind of close in proximities, but
hey, you can't be friends with him. He's a Sooner.
I mean, it's not written in, as long as you graduate after the fact, you can be a cool guy.
Now you can be friends?
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
what a real rivalry that is, huh?
But that's good.
Bedlam?
Get on to the moment where he had a great week, okay? That's the thing we got to concentrate. All of 24 for 33, 72.7 yards. Completion percentage, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, a long of 23, a passer rating of, get this, 101.8. He had a nice day versus a tough team in the San Francisco 49ers, a tough defense at that. Didn't get the win.
Didn't get the win.
Didn't get the win, but look at these highlights, man. Showing off the speed, doing what he had to do to try and get his team this victory. Him and Coach Handsome over there are starting to finally figure some things out in the NFL. And because of that, I nominated him as my alumni, player to look out for.
There you go.
They lost again, 26-36, but tough team, 49ers. But I was proud of his performance.
Yeah. It's okay.
Who did you have?
You know who I had? I've had this guy before, actually.
Oh, really?
He's on my fantasy team.
You're always looking out for yourself.
He's on my fantasy team. Mark Andrews. Shout out, former Sooner Mark Andrews. It's a Sooner day. We're talking about the Sooners a lot today.
I wouldn't call it all that.
I'm just calling it how it is, buddy. Okay. Mark Andrews, 4 receptions, 75 yards, and a touchdown, and a big win for the Baltimore Ravens over the Houston Texans, 41-7. This dude is, you could call him a top 5 tight end for sure in the league right now, right? Would you agree with that?
There's a lot of good guys in this league.
Well, just agree with me, would you?
Oh, fine.
Thank you. No, seriously, 20-plus points in fantasy. Did really well there. Ravens are 8-2, first place in AFC North. They, of course, beat my Patriots a couple weeks ago, which is fine.
Yeah.
Because we'll just beat them in the AFC Championship game.
Not going to happen.
So they can have that win.
You see Lamar Jackson?
We'll have the next win. Yeah, Lamar Jackson's good.
Yeah, look at that ball placement.
He's really good. But, yeah, Andrews, again, I think top 5 tight end right now in all of football, and he's just impressing a lot of people right now.
I mean, with Gronk out of the league, I can see how he can move up to that top 5 spot, but there's still a lot of good tight ends. Travis Kelce, Kittle, just a number of guys.
And then Andrews, 3. That's okay. Don't worry about it. On this side of the break, next side, we're talking high school football. I promise.
Okay.
I promise.
Finally.
We'll be back after this.
Hi, we're Bravado Wireless. You may have seen us at your local events and wondered just exactly what we do. We provide the highest quality cell phone service, specializing in outstanding coverage, both locally and nationwide. We're headquartered right here in Oklahoma, with multiple store locations in eastern Oklahoma. We provide the most affordable, unlimited talk, text, and data plans available. For a limited time, our unlimited plan is only $40 a month, and you can receive a free LG K30. Make sure you stop in now and enjoy our other amazing summer deals before they end. Visit Bravado Wireless store locations for all other details, or go to bravadowireless.com for more information. We are Bravado Wireless, and we believe in the power of connection.
The high school football playoffs are upon us.
They're upon us.
We're in the second round right now of all of the classes. You saw Shakota beat Cassia Hall 36-22 in last week's game of the week. Tell me about it, buddy. What did you see?
It was a very, very impressive game. First of all, I can't start this chat without telling you, number 2 for Cassia Hall, the Wildcats quarterback and strong safety, Jacob Barrett, pretty much single-handedly willed his team to this victory. A dominating performance by him. Just take a look at this open field run. This was the first touchdown of the game. Him weaving through traffic, showing off the speed, and getting into the end zone, and he would do this continuously all night. The defense had a strong performance. I mean, Cassia Hall figured things out. Trickery.
Whoa.
Brendan Dan finding the open, McIntosh in the end zone as well. And take a look at Cassia Hall. They found a way to, get some things going in the second quarter, but at the second half was the rest. Check out this catch right here, baby. Trenton Dan with the Moss at halftime. Man, it was very electrifying atmosphere. And take a look at this play. I mean, you can marvel at it, running side to side, then finding McIntosh in the back of the end zone. He did that all night. Although there was a penalty on that play and they called it back, so it didn't count for anything, but it was still spectacular. Brendan Dan catching another touchdown pass and going into the end zone. I think that was the last possible score for the Shakota team.
Woo!
But you can see this catch by Cassia Hall as well. But the interception again, Trenton Dan getting the interception, taking it the other way. There was a flag on that play as well, so they had to bring it back. Look at him trip right here, just running, just tired. I think he got injured on that play as well.
Okay.
But it was enough for Shakota and the Wildcats to get the victory and go on to the second round. A very, very, very exciting game, and I hope I get to see another one this week.
From 4A to 2A, this week's game of the week, Millwood at Vian. Millwood 9-2, Vian 10-1. Vian beat Millwood last year in the quarterfinals, so there might be some extra energy in this one.
Yeah, I've seen this Millwood team play this year, and they are talented. They have athletes across the board, but I've been, begging our guys over here at Bravado to check out this Vian group. The Wright brothers, not the ones who made the planes. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the guys who make plays for Vian. I'm telling you right now, Elijah, Solomon, and Javian, 3 brothers that I want to go out there and check out. This should be a very good game. Wright brothers versus the athletes of Millwood. It's going to be a good one, Jacob.
They'll be speeding down the field just like a plane.
There you go.
I'm going
to use that in the broadcast.
Wright brothers. Yeah, you use that.
I'm going to use that.
And you shout me out.
I'm not going to do that.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I'm going to take credit for that.
Got it. Okay, last thoughts on anything we discussed.
Well, this week is going to be interesting. OSU does go down to West Virginia for an early kick. Oklahoma plays TCU. They got to take care of business there. Like we said, TU facing Houston. Both teams playing for pride. So we got a lot of interesting games. Everybody needs to take care of business. Take care of business this week, guys.
I meant to say this during the highlights. Those highlights were shot beautifully by our crew, weren't they?
They definitely were.
They've done a nice job this season. Appreciate Bravado Wireless for helping us with the broadcast, the show. Make sure to check out bravadowireless.com for all their content. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. And check out this guy's social media. He's a pretty good follow. What's your handle?
Deion Imade _28. And then also check out Jacob.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Don't forget me, Jacob R. Toby, T-O-B-E-Y.
There you go.
EY, that is. It's all good. All right. Thank you to our entire Bravado Wireless crew for tonight's show. For Deion Imade and our entire crew, I'm Jacob Toby. See ya.